guys, so I'm here with a review of the Giorgio Armani Maestro foundation, which I spoke about in a recent video, and I wanted to do a quick video review of this foundation as well as a demo of how the foundation applies to my skin and the results that I get from it. So as usual with my reviews, I'll go ahead and show you how the product actually works on my skin before I go into talking about the details of the product. So stay tuned for the demonstration. So a few minutes ago I actually applied my moisturizer of choice, and I used the Anthony Logistics for Men Instant Oil Control, and I mixed it in with a scoop of my Turbo Booster C Powder from Philosophy. So I mixed these together and applied that to my skin and let that settle in for about 5 minutes. Then the first thing you want to do before you apply this foundation is give it a good shake. And when I mean good, I mean good, because you'll see that some of the pigment tends to settle at the bottom, so give it a good shake. And you want to make sure you squeeze the tip of the dropper so that any foundation that is within the dropper is actually mixed in as well. So give it a good shake. So once you've given it a good shake, now you want to go ahead and get out the foundation that you need. Since this is not a pump, it's a dropper, and the foundation is really liquidy, I don't suggest using the back of your hands for this. I suggest using something that you can actually get the foundation on. So you can use a palette, or you can use, like I do, a little soap dish. And what I do is just get the dropper and drop a few drops into my little container here, just like that. So you'll see it runs all over the place, which is the first thing you'll probably notice about this foundation. And I got way too much in there. You really don't need that much foundation. You need like half of that. I'm going to grab my foundation brush. This is my Sigma Flat Top Kabuki, and I'm going to go ahead and stipple that over my face. So I'm just going to grab the foundation on that brush, and then let's come in so you can see me actually apply it. I'm going to put it on my face, and you'll see that it's darker than my skin, and you're like, whoa, what the heck? But what I found is once you blend it into your skin, it's almost like it is a seamless color coverage to your skin. So I'm going to apply that on just one side of my face, just buffing it into my skin, and you'll see it's already kind of blending into my skin. It's really lightweight, like you definitely don't feel the foundation at all. It actually feels like nothing. I'm just feeling the brush, to be honest with you. And other foundations, like, you'll feel the actual product on your skin. With this one, I feel nothing at all. It's lightweight and it blends really easily. Like, I don't have to do too much to get it to blend and work into my skin. Other foundations, I feel, have a little bit of drag, and you have to do a little bit more buffing to get it to kind of blend in with your skin. And one side of my face is done, and I'll let you be the judge. It's a sheer coverage. It's not really full coverage, but as you see, it's evened out my skin tone. Now on this side, you'll see that I have a little lightness, and then my outline of my face is darker. And here it's now blended in like a one color wonder. So now I'm going to finish up the rest of my face. And there you have it. I have one layer of the foundation on. As you can see, it really evened out my skin. It was really easy to blend, and there aren't any streaks. I mean, the foundation brush has something to do with it, but the foundation itself is really easy to blend into the skin. So, as you can tell, it's not full coverage because my freckles still show through, which I actually appreciate because I like when there's a natural finish to my skin. And you'll see that my little scar that I have is still also not covered. So it's definitely not a full coverage foundation, but it's buildable. So what I'm going to do now is allow that to set a bit and then apply a little bit more where I need it. So now that the foundation has had a little time, just a couple of minutes, nothing crazy, a minute or two, I'm going to go ahead and pick up a little bit more of that and cover the areas where I need a little bit more coverage. So I'm just going to stipple it in over that little scar that I have, and then stipple it also around my lips where I tend to be a little bit darker. So now let's take a closer look at my skin after the additional foundation was put on. As you can see, it still looks very natural. It looks like my own skin. And you'll see that my little scar is covered. There is a little bit of a texture there. You can tell that something's there. But as far as the color goes, it's covered it. And yeah, that's how the foundation looks freshly applied. Okay, so now that you've seen the product in action and I've mentioned a couple of things about it, how about we get into the nitty-gritty details of the actual product itself. So based on the Giorgio Armani website, it says that the Maestro foundation has a formula that is easy to apply with unified distribution and covers imperfections. It's an ultra-fine oil pigment suspension that perfects the complexion, instantly igniting skin's natural luminosity. It's a powder and water-free base. Now it also mentions the technology that is used in this formula, and it says it's an unforgettable and unique texture created by patented fusion technology. The fusion makeup technology delivers the thinnest color film that blends perfectly and corrects skin's imperfections without buildup. We'll look at the actual foundation and go into my 5 P's that I like to call it on my blog, and I'll leave a link to the actual blog post showing my review of this foundation. And so there's a list of the ingredients, the price, all that good stuff, and pictures of me before and after. But let's get into first the price of the foundation. The price of this, it's expensive. It's $62 for 1 ounce or 30 grams of product. The normal size of a foundation is typically 1 ounce. So most foundations on the market come in 1 ounce sizes, so that's nothing new, but the price of this is $62. If I look at my Girl On foundation is actually $58. So it's cheaper than this, and same size, same everything. The MAC foundations vary from $27 for the Studio Fix upwards to $33 for the Matchmaster. So yeah, this foundation is like double the price of a MAC foundation. So as far as price goes, this is one of the most expensive foundations on the market. Like, we're talking high-end makeup, medium to high-end makeup. So you can find foundations that are more expensive, but this one is definitely on the high end of as far as prices go. The next thing you want to talk about is the actual packaging. If you look at the container, it's a glass container. It's see-through, so that means you can see the amount of product that's in the, or it's transparent, which means you can actually see the amount of product in the actual container. It has, instead of a pump or like just a screw top, screw top, it has a dropper of sorts. The dropper itself is, I think it's glass. It may be plastic, but it's, you know, it looks medicinal in nature, and it's a little rubber squeeze thing. So my first take on this is that it looks really cheap. For $62 that I'm spending, the whole dropper concept, I don't like it. I definitely think it looks cheap, but based on the liquidity or fluidity of the foundation, meaning how very watery and runny it is, if you can tell, it's really runny, really watery. Maybe the dropper is was their best option for packaging as far as that goes. Now, if you look at the dropper itself at the top, it kind of seeps out foundation. So I think the packaging definitely could be done better. I do not like the packaging. And I'll mention one more thing about the packaging. The fact that you have to open it and close it so much, I don't like that with any liquid foundation, because you're getting air in there, plus God knows what other bacterial agents are in the air that's getting in there, and that can definitely lessen the shelf life of your product. So that throws me. I don't like opening it. But on the other hand, with the dropper, you can kind of control how much product you get, and once you figure out just how much you get, then you can go ahead and kind of control that, and you have less wastage. With the pump, sometimes you can't really control the flow of the product, so hit or miss there. Now the actual availability, it's available at GiorgioArmani.com. It's also available at high-end department stores like Nordstrom or Saks Fifth Avenue. But I definitely check in store before you run out and get it, because some stores don't necessarily have the foundation available. Color range, it comes in 12 shades. It goes from a 2 to a 12, 12 being the darkest shade, which this that I use is a shade number 10. Now I'm NC 45 in MAC foundations, so I'm relatively, I'd say I'm a medium 10, almost bordering on deep 10. But I'm definitely not in the darker range of skin tones. So for me to be a 10 already, that means the other two shades after me aren't that dark. So if you were really dark or you're really, really super light, then you may not be able to find your shade in this foundation. But definitely check it out. Try it out in store to see if you can find your shade. The next thing we want to talk about is the actual product. Where do I start? The formula. It has a SPF 15. Which is always a good thing. It's great that it has sunscreen in it. Now with that being said, it has an expiration date on it that's on the box. That is about 2 years from the date I bought mine. So it has a pretty good, not shelf life, but a usage life. So the expiration date on this really means the sunscreen, the effectiveness of the sunscreen will deteriorate after about 2 years. But definitely you have to watch your foundation to see if it separates, if it oxidizes, all that good stuff. But I think it has a pretty good shelf life and storage life, as well as like a product life overall. So I wouldn't worry about that. Now the texture, as I said, it's very liquidy, very fluidy, and very runny, which is something that may throw you off initially. If you've used other liquid foundations, you will see that this is kind of really watery compared to other liquid foundations on the market. Now that alone will throw you off and you'll think, oh goodness gracious me, is it even going to cover anything? Now I think the fluidity of the foundation is what makes me love it so much, because it applies so evenly to the skin and it blends so effortlessly that I think that has to do with just the formulation of it. It's so thin, it's almost water-like, like you feel nothing on your skin. It's lightweight, it's not you know how some foundations, when you wear them, they tighten and it kind of pulls your skin a little bit, especially oily skin formulas. It kind of tightens on your skin. This is like wearing nothing at all on your skin. Like you will not feel this foundation on your skin. It reminds me of airbrush formulas. You know, the foundations that you use for airbrushing. They're really lightweight, they're liquidy, they're watery, and it reminds me of that. Now the one thing that I do have to note about this foundation is that silicone is everywhere in this formulation. Okay, the ingredient list lists all variations of silicone, so if you're silicone sensitive or you find that silicone makes you break out, or you know, you react poorly to silicone, be mindful of this, because this foundation is just full of silicone all around. Now the finish of the foundation, I find it to have a very natural, like satin finish. It's not matte at all, like it doesn't leave a flat finish to your skin. It definitely gives a healthy, natural luminosity, as it says. There is just a natural, healthy skin glow to it. It's not shimmery, there's no shimmer in it, and there are no like sparkles or anything, but it's more of a glowy foundation. But for oily skin, I know people are going to question this, it actually doesn't look oily at all. And as an oily girl, I can say this, yeah, I don't look oily, I just look, and it's not dewy either, so I don't look wet, but my foundation looks very natural on my skin. Like I didn't powder it down and look crazy like I'm matte, but it just looks like it's my natural skin finish. The application, like I said in my demonstration, it's effortless. It glides on, it blends in, it just, without much effort. You can use your hands for this, and it's one of these foundations that I would refer to as foolproof. You can just apply this with hands, in a car, in a rush, and it will not be blotchy and crazy on your skin, because it takes very little effort to blend in. So I definitely think it's one of those foolproof foundations that is great for beginners, it's great for anybody. Coverage, as I mentioned in the demo as well, it's a very, I wouldn't say it's a sheer coverage, but it's a light to medium coverage. So it's definitely buildable, but initially your first layer is going to be light. It's going to even out, it does even out your skin tone. For me, I have lighter, like a lighter area of my skin on towards the middle of my face, which most people do. And then on the outer edges it's a little darker. So it evens out my skin tone, it evens out the dark and the light, and gives it one just like even complexion, which is great. That's what I really need. But there's some of us who may need a little bit extra coverage, and I think this will offer that. If you don't have serious imperfections that you're trying to cover, I think this foundation is definitely an option for you. And I think most people need minimal coverage. I don't think most people have really terrible skin where you have serious delineations or dark marks that you need to cover. So I think this will appeal to the majority of people out there. It is buildable, as I showed in the demo again. I showed like a little imperfection that I had, that I just added a little bit extra foundation where I needed it, and it did the job. I guess the next thing you're gonna ask is, how is the wear? And then remember again, I have oily skin, so I can only speak for me. For oily skin, I think this is almost like a dream come true, because normally when I wear foundation, liquid foundation, no matter how lightly I apply it or if I powder, it never fails that about 6 to 8 hours into wear, the foundation starts to almost break down on my skin when the oils, the natural oils, start seeping through. And then the foundation will start to separate and kind of settle into lines, and it's not attractive at all. And I find myself blotting or, you know, dabbing at it and trying to re-blend it into my skin. With this foundation, I find that over time it makes friends with the oils in my skin. It doesn't attack them, because it's an oil-based suspension. The oils in it mixes well with the oils in my skin. In this case, it blends and mixes with the oils in my skin, and it doesn't separate at all, which is great. So I think this is definitely a great foundation. If you do get super oily, I recommend powdering it. What I've been using is my Girl On loose mineral powder to kind of set it, and just lightly set it, and I've got 10 plus hours of wear without any problems. So that's my overall take on it. I think it's great for oily skin. Or dry skin, I would definitely try it out first. Get a sample, because it may not be as moisturizing as you'd need. But if you use a great moisturizer under it, it shouldn't be a problem. If you want to splurge on a foundation, this is the foundation to splurge on. Like, if you are in the market for something fantastic that you don't mind spending money on, this one is definitely worth checking out. It's high priced, I know that, and not everyone is going to get it. But if you do get it, I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you have normal to oily skin, I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. With dry skin, definitely test it out first. And really, really oily skin, you may get a little trouble, but I definitely think it's worth it. If you need sheer to medium coverage, I wouldn't. If you need full coverage, then this isn't for you. But if you're looking for a natural foundation that works really well, I think this is definitely worth checking out. So I'll leave the link again below to my blog to the full review, and hopefully this review helps someone out. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.